Hey YouTubers, we're back with our next video of the Tippmann A5 segment. This one is the install of the Zero Kick Hammer and a little bit of a brief explanation of how it works and what it does. But first off, so seeing now I have air and I've been able to air up the gun. I now have, I don't know if you can see, I have the gun aired up. So right now I got the stabilizer set to at about 750 psi. So we just took it outside with some fresh paint, chroned it up, adjusted the velocity. So we're shooting in around 267 to 273, which is really good considering we're shooting 1 star or 2 star, one of the two. It's a pretty low grade paint, but however it does work really well and it shoots very well. It is really cold outside right now, but however that may play a little bit of an effect in our velocities spiking, and the fact that the stabilizer is brand new and the O-rings still need to wear in a little bit in order for them to take their set. And so for the first little bit with your stabilizer, you may or may not need to make adjustments, but if you do, they'll be very minor. Jesus, just got in from outside. It's really cold out, but it does work really well, and I did notice a big difference when it came to the consistency over the chrono. Let's just say we're ±4 with, once again, 1 or 2 star paint. So I'm using 1 or 2 star from GI Sports. So it's a 2-tone shell. It's like a blue and a yellow. I don't think that really matters, but let's get on with it. So now that, like I just showed you, that we got the regulator set to well, not exactly operating pressure. The idea, if you're going to have this set up, you're going to want to set this lower than what your tank's output pressure is, because otherwise they're always going to be fighting against each other. One's going to be just drawing air that it doesn't have, right? So if you set it to maybe 50 psi lower than what your tank's output pressure is, I find it works very well. If you set it to exactly what your tank outputs, then it's going to have a little bit of a hard time feeding that air that takes a little bit for the tank to put out. So always set your stabilizer to about 50 psi less than your output pressure of your tank. Perfect. Okay, so now we got that done. So let's degas the gun and go ahead and we'll install the Zero Kick Hammer. All right, so we'll just get rid of the barrel. I don't need the barrel right now. Take that, set it aside. Okay, so now you just got the gun, so we're gonna take the 2 back pins out. Okay, back pins. Be careful because it is under pressure, because there is a spring there. You don't want that popping out and losing your spring and your drive pin. Very important. Okay, so we'll set them aside. I've already done this. I've already went ahead and made sure that the velocity adjuster screw is turned all the way in, so this way we could pull the internals out and not have any issues with it scoring the inside of the gun. So we'll just take our trigger frame off, and then we'll also pop off our reg here. This one's always a pain in the ass to get off, but there we go. Just pull that right out, set that aside. So far, very simple. It's just a quick switch. So we'll just pull this out of the packaging and we'll get it ready. We may throw a little bit of Tippmann oil on it before we go out. Okay. So in this package, it comes with like a little spares bag, comes with a new O-ring, and also comes with a looks like a trigger spring and a sear spring. But I don't know anything about the sear spring. If you're gonna, I guess, suppose if you're having recock issues, then I guess that is to help. I'm gonna assume that's what it is. Okay, so we're gonna remove our bolt from the back. All right, very simple. Now, a lot of people say if you're having problems with your Zero Kick Hammer resealing or sealing or recocking, sometimes using the O-ring that come with the stock hammer also helps, okay? Because it is a little bit harder and it is a little bit tougher than the O-rings included with the Zero Kick Hammer. So we'll just go ahead and, oh, before I even do this, this Zero Kick Hammer comes with a weight on the inside, okay? So this weight is optional. So if you're having a hard time getting your velocities above 200 feet per second or so, it's probably the best thing to do is use this weight, and that should help bring you back up. So we're gonna put it in there and install it anyways, assuming that I have that problem, because I don't really feel like taking this apart again. So if anything, it's just a matter of popping off the back cap and just taking the weight out. So this time we'll just shoot with the weight first. All right, slide that right back in there and put everything back together. Very, very simple setup. It's not hard, but make sure that you don't lose any of your pieces in the process of doing this. So we'll just start sticking our pins back in there. Okay. Now, the new hammer comes with a spring, so you're no longer going to need the stock spring. So let's just pull that off. Okay, we'll also put the bolt with that one aside of the hammer, and we'll use the one that came with the Techt Zero Kick Hammer. So we'll also just install that onto the pin. Okay. Seeing that this back piece fell out, so we'll have to put that back in. All right. Just like a normal install, put the pin and your spring back in. Back cap. And there you go. We had just successfully installed the Zero Kick Hammer. And let's just do a little cocking test. All right. We are working, we're operational. Now here's another trick that I don't think anybody's ever showed you. So cock the trigger, pull it, now hold it, cock it again. When you release it, you should hear a click. That means that your sear and your trigger is working properly. So that is a really, really good function test for your trigger to make sure that it is working and doing what it is supposed to do. So in this case, we're 100% ready to go ahead. We're gonna go take this right back outside. We're gonna chrono again and see if it was a gain or a loss on our feet per second. And in this case, I think it's gonna be a little bit of a gain, because this Zero Kick Hammer is about 50% less weight than the stock hammer. It is polished as well, so it's a lot slicker, a lot smoother. It should move a lot easier and a lot quicker. So when you're shooting your semi-automatic, which in this case we're gonna notice a difference in being able to pull the trigger a lot faster. And including with the kit, there is a trigger spring. We could also switch that out, but we're gonna just go ahead right now and just take the gun outside and test it with the hammer inside, and we'll just see how it goes without the upgraded spring. But that is an option. So it's an upgraded trigger spring and sear spring. Sear spring you may want to do a little bit of research on, but once again, if you have the weight and you got the Zero Kick Hammer in there and you're still having some troubles getting your velocities above 220, 230, then with that weight you should probably look into maybe switching out that sear spring. If you're having recocking issues and it doesn't cock, it just sputters every time you shoot, either your pressure, your tank output is a little too low, or it should, so there's something else going on. You may want to take a look at that. And whatever you do, if you decide to oil your hammer, do not oil this part or your sear, because that will also help it slip and you're going to have those sputtering issues. So make sure that part of your bolt is dry, and you shouldn't have any issues. So let's go outside, let's shoot some paint.